There is a specific kind of heaviness that settles in the chest after a door closes for the last time. It isn't metaphorical. It's a literal, dull ache, a sensation that your ribs are a little too tight for your lungs. If you've ever sat in a quiet room and felt like your body was recovering from a physical blow, despite not having a single bruise, you've experienced one of the most confusing glitches in the human design. We call it a broken heart, but the brain sees it as something much more primal. It doesn't distinguish between a fractured relationship and a fractured bone. When we talk about heartbreak, we often use the language of injury. We say we feel crushed or torn apart, or like we've been hit by a train. For a long time, we treated these as poetic exaggerations, but if you were to look at a brain scan of someone reflecting on a recent rejection, you'd see something unsettling. The regions of the brain that light up when you spill boiling water on your hand, the anterior cingulate cortex and the secondary somatosensory cortex, are the exact same regions that activate when you're forced to process the end of a deep connection. To your nervous system, the loss of us is registered as physical damage to me. This is why you can't just think your way out of the pain. You can't logic yourself into feeling better any more than you could talk yourself out of feeling the sting of a physical cut. The body has its own memory, and it's currently screaming that something is wrong with your survival. To understand why this happens, we have to look at the micro behaviors that emerge in the aftermath. You might find yourself compulsively checking your phone, looking for a name that isn't there, or rereading old messages until the words lose their meaning. On the surface, this looks like longing, but deeper down, it's a physiological withdrawal. When you are in a relationship, your brain becomes accustomed to a steady, predictable drip of neurochemicals, specifically oxytocin and dopamine. Your partner becomes your primary biological regulator. Their presence, their scent, even the sound of their keys in the door stabilizes your nervous system. When that person leaves, the supply is cut off instantly. Your brain enters a state of chemical chaos. Those frantic behaviors, the overthinking, the checking, the inability to sleep, are the symptoms of an addict looking for a fix. Your brain is trying to find the regulator that kept its chemistry in balance. It isn't weakness. It's a biological system trying to regain its equilibrium. But the pain goes deeper than chemistry. It touches the very architecture of how we perceive ourselves. In a long-term connection, we undergo a process called cognitive interdependence. Our memories, our habits, and even our sense of time become woven into the other person. You don't just know who you know who you are in relation to them. And here's where it gets interesting. The real reason a breakup hurts so physically isn't actually about the loss of the other person. It's about the sudden, violent collapse of the self you created with them. Most people believe they are a single, static identity. But in reality, we are fluid. We outsource parts of our identity to the people we love. They hold the mirror that reflects our best traits. They are the audience for our private jokes. They are the witness to our daily lives. When they leave, they take that mirror with them. The physical pain you feel is the sensation of your identity losing its structural integrity. You aren't just mourning a partner. You are mourning the version of you that only existed when they were around. You're experiencing the death of a shared future, and the body reacts to that death with the same mourning it would give to a physical passing. This is why you might feel a strange sense of disorientation, like the world has shifted a few inches to the left. You might find yourself staring at the grocery store shelf, unable to remember what you used to like to eat before you started eating what we liked. This isn't just indecision, it's a nervous system trying to figure out where its boundaries are now that its primary partner is gone. Evolutionarily, this was a survival mechanism. For our ancestors, being rejected by the tribe or a primary partner was a death sentence. To be alone was to be vulnerable to predators and the elements. So the brain developed a way to make social rejection hurt as much as physical pain to ensure we would do everything in our power to avoid it. Your brain is using an ancient alarm system to tell you that you are unsafe, even though you are sitting in a modern room with a roof over your head. The weight in your chest is that alarm. It's an ancient survival-based signal that is misfiring in a modern world. When you see it through this lens, the pain stops being something you need to fix and starts being something you simply need to observe. It isn't a sign that you are failing or that you are too sensitive. It's a sign that your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, protect you. It's trying to alert you to a loss of safety, even if that safety was an illusion built on another person's presence. As time passes, the brain begins the slow, quiet work of remapping. It starts to reclaim the territories of your identity that were once shared. The physical ache begins to dull, not because the loss is gone, but because the nervous system is finding new ways to regulate itself. You are building a new map of the world where you are the primary landmark. Once you realize that the pain is a biological process and not a permanent state of being, the way you move through it changes. You stop asking, "Why am I still feeling this?" and start acknowledging that a complex system is recalibrating. It was never a random act of cruelty by your emotions. It was a pattern designed to keep you connected, now learning how to keep you whole on your own. Understanding this doesn't make the ache go away instantly, but it changes your relationship with it. You aren't broken, you are just being reconfigured. And that awareness alone changes how you move through the silence.